not ideal, but it came down to, well, I'm not going to go as the head coach of a place to go, because even though most people do that, and they spend a weekend somewhere in other professions and go to the schools and restaurants to get a feel for it in neighborhoods, and then they make a decision, and sometimes, they take 4 months to relocate and stuff in the real world. And that doesn't happen. You get on a plane and you go. So I just thought it was really important when they offered, to have the family come down without me and get a feel for it. And it was very important, because that went a lot into the decision. I don't know that I could have made this. I don't know that I could have made the decision, or certainly couldn't have made it and felt good without everybody on board like it was, after going to multiple places and coming back and saying, hey, we're all in. We're all in to go to Baton Rouge.
An NIL plan in this new true third-party NIL era factor into your decision? And what can you share with us about the plan LSU laid out for you?
Yeah, great question. In that, when you talk about the, 4 places and making a decision, okay, I said through the process, okay, I'm never going to make a decision on money. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what my contract is here. That's not very financially responsible, okay? I'm sure it's really good, okay? I don't know what it is, nor did I know at the other places what the numbers were, because I said in the beginning, I told Jimmy Sexton, don't tell me the numbers, okay? I want to make a decision that has nothing to do with money for me. Now, tell me the numbers in the plan for what the money is for the players, because that's everything in that area to me, okay? Not what I make, what they make, to understand how can you build this. And if you're going to make a change and you're going to move, and all these people are going to move, and you're going to do all this and go through all that, which was a very challenging, obviously, last 48 hours, in a lot of ways sucked. It's the only way I can describe it. It sucked for a lot of people. And there was no way to possibly do it, in my opinion, any better than we did from a timing standpoint, because it's a bad scheduling system of how it's set up, and eventually, hopefully, it gets like the NFL, where you can't do that in the season and don't have.
LSU Odyssey live on this night, this evening. Here we are, LSU Odyssey live, Kiffinquest. We had a, I really am looking forward to this show. How can I say that? Because we've had kind of a very trying last little bit here, and man, it's kind of a sense of more normalcy than going into NICU, NICU places, in and out, and shuffling back and forth, and not having your baby to bring home, and worrying about her nonstop. It's been ridiculous, and it's been quite a trying time. But I know a lot of people have gone through it, and in comparison to other people's situations, we've got it pretty good, and she's in really good hands, luckily. But we are worried. And so I am looking forward to this show, because it gives me a chance to kind of do what I love to do without having to be up against the clock of, you got to do this, you got to be here, you got to do that, you got to drop everything and go solve this or whatever. I can just hang out with you guys. We can talk LSU football, and we can get down to the brass tacks. Look at this. We got this set up right here. Are we going to add a 1908 onto here now? Is there going to be another year here, 1908? Are we going to be able to claim that season? Or are we going to pull an Auburn by starting to claim national championships? Yeah, so we're back. Just saw Ari for a few hours there, holding her having a good time. Snuggling with her for a few hours at the NICU. Just been having to trade places with Chels back and forth, someone to watch Sage, because of course no children over 5 can, no children under 5 can be in the NICU, so he can't go in there, which is the problem. So it's been interesting, but hopefully she's going to be out very, very soon, and it looks like it's going in that direction. Welcome everyone to Kiffinquest. Welcome everyone. We're also going to be talking about kind of what we see from Lane Kiffin so far, what we think and feel about the beginning of this guy's reign here as LSU's head coach, kind of some of the decisions, some of the moves Kiffin's already made, and kind of our take as well, and really some strong opinion about Frank Wilson, and how we really echo. We've said it a bunch of times, like Hunt Palmer did. We have to keep Frank. I really do believe that you have to keep Frank on this staff. You have to keep Frank Wilson on the staff. He's got the humility to accept going from, interim head coach, a big piece of this team, recruiting coordinator. I don't think he would really accept such a big step down, and I don't think it would be smart for Lane Kiffin to give him a big step down. Frank is a huge part of LSU's success, and has really been underrated for a long time. There's people who will argue he was overrated as well as a running backs coach. But then I think you could also balance that scale by saying he was underrated as one hell of a recruiter and relationship guy. And I just think he's a straw that stirs a bit of drink. So I'm just, I really do believe Kiffin has to keep Frank Wilson on staff. I think it'd be crazy if he didn't. But from that, LSU's new staff is coming together here, even though a lot of them are, of course, coaching this Ole Miss run to its, to its culmination, whatever that will be. But Lane Kiffin, all intents and purposes, has his staff. And some of these guys, maybe you're not too familiar with, but Charlie Weiss Jr., he is your new offensive coordinator at LSU. And as Wilson Alexander reported from official LSU documentation, his term sheet, Charlie Weiss, he will be making $7.5 million. Let me look at that one more time. I want to make sure I get that right. If that's $7.5 million over his salary, or $7.5 million overall. Let's see, Charlie Weiss. Okay, yeah, 3 years, 7.5. Because I'm like, whoa, $7.5 million. No fucking way is he getting $7.5 million per year. That'd be nuts. Like, what are we doing here? Because I was about to be like, wait a minute, is it really like? I was about to throw my phone. Do we really pay this guy $7.5 million per year? Okay, so Charlie Weiss Jr., new offensive coordinator, he's going to be paid very well to leave Ole Miss. But then you got Joe Cox, who's the co-OC. Very strange, a co-OC, and he also does the tight ends. Very interesting to see and kind of study and figure out how exactly Ole Miss uses those tight ends, uses those receivers, uses everything in the passing game. Because then you got George McDonald, wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator. So, with this information right here as well, you obviously know Cortez Hankton is gone from LSU. And, you've seen Joe Sloan get fired already, but now Cortez Hankton's gone. And then Eric Walford, is hired as the offensive line coach, former from Kentucky, and he takes over for Brad Davis. Big move there. Brad Davis has always been strong at recruiting offensive line, but he hasn't been solid at developing those offensive linemen at all. And I've been a proponent of you've got to cut ties with Brad Davis. I've really been for it. And I hate to say that, but I hate to watch LSU's offensive line even more. So I'm sorry. And Lane Kiffin wasn't going to put up with an offensive line like that at LSU. He was not going to tolerate that shit. And thank God, because we now have a chance to see LSU potentially have a good running game again. But here's the thing, though. I will say this. Eric Walford arrives at LSU with a lot of criticism and a lot of like, hey, this guy was not good at Kentucky, coming on his I was about to say coming on his back, and I figured, oh God, this sounds bad. He's got a lot of criticism nipping at his heels. A lot of like, hey, he was terrible at Kentucky. All these Kentucky fans in mass were like, oh, okay, LSU, big win. Big win. You really got us there. You got this guy. Like, really, they were shitting on us. It was kind of crazy to see. And so there we go. Now everything's like how it should be. I was wondering why the screen is so damn small. I was holding the iPad weird. This is why I need my laptop back. Oh, God, my laptop's been broken for the last few months, and things have been so crazy. I haven't taken it to get it fixed. But Eric Walford, for as criticized as Brad Davis was, as bad as Brad Davis was, you have now Eric Walford who comes in as your new offensive line coach, and he has a ton of questions. There's a ton of questions about him and what he can do at LSU, what he couldn't do at Kentucky. That's kind of the one move by Kiffin that people have been like skeptical on. And I think that's not just me. That's not just an agenda. I think that's pretty much consensus. People have been like, I don't know about that move, Lane. Like, what are we doing with Walford? And maybe it's because maybe the options at offensive line, Lane Kiffin wasn't comfortable with, and we're gonna have to wait to get some of these people. And I don't want to wait for a month and a half or something to go after maybe my primary targets. And then we're left really having to go for scraps. Maybe that's a theory, but Eric Walford doesn't really scream, just splash higher. And, LSU's offensive line play has been so bad for quite a while here and under multiple different coaches. And I would be stunned. I'd be flabbergasted if Lane Kiffin had a poor offensive line at LSU, because you haven't seen him at wherever he's been, whether it's Florida Atlantic, whether it's USC, winning national championships with Pete Carroll, being a central figure on that offensive juggernaut staff, whether it's his time working with speedy slot guys, a Trey Harris type of dude who's now excelling in the NFL, like working with Matt Corral, like at Ole Miss, like he's done all this stuff all over the place, but wherever you've seen him go, he's been able to run the football significantly, consistently, powerfully. Whether you think of Lane Kiffin as like an aerial passing game, passing first type of coach, I think you're wrong. I think it's something LSU fans should get very excited about, because what has been the main criticism and what is the main reason that really all of LSU's problems offensively happened this season. LSU's inability to run the damn football. LSU's inability to run the football. And now you have an opportunity. You have a chance with Lane Kiffin, one of the best architects of rushing offense in modern college football, modern college football play calling. When his teams get in a rhythm, and there's a reason they call him the Lane Train, because he'll run that ball 30 out of 30 times to just suffocate your defense and finish the game off. And LSU has not had an offense like that since Les Miles. And here's the thing. It wasn't anything to do with Les Miles. It was more to do with guys like Gary Croton, for why LSU would be able to strangle opponents in such a run-first, run-heavy manner. And it was the strength of their offensive line. And it was the strength of their running backs' ability to make these cuts, to make these moves behind the line of scrimmage, make a play. A guy like Jeremy Hill is a guy that many take for granted. And he was an absolute freak for LSU. A guy like Ty Davis Price, who, many would say, oh, he wasn't that good. But he was 1,000-yard back for LSU still. He still had an 1,000-yard season, and it was only in 6 games too. And he's also LSU's all-time single game rusher record holder. So LSU have throughout the years have had these unbelievably talented backs, but they haven't always had the offensive line power, the quarterback, the offensive play calling, the coordination of the offense, the everything set to really succeed and at its optimum to really maximize everybody. You saw that in 2019, of course. You saw that in 2007 for the most part. You saw that in 2011 for pretty much every game until what game, title game against Alabama, 21-0 game, when they couldn't cross the halfway line for a myriad of reasons, mostly Alabama just having, and LSU that night, but mostly Alabama as well, having a historic defensive night. But you've always seen LSU be able to mix it up when we've had these strong runs, these great teams. Been able to really boss teams around on the ground, throw the football as well. Matt Flynn to Richard Dixon against Ohio State for 3 touchdowns in a title game. That came out of nowhere. But at the same time, that team could go bombs away on you and score 48-52 or whatever it was against Arkansas, in triple overtime. That team could put up a ton of points. We think of these teams in the past at LSU they couldn't score or anything, they were too rudimentary. But go back and watch it; it's a lot better than you probably remember. But I digress. LSU with Kiffin, I think you're gonna kind of feel that kind of a rebirth of an offense at LSU, a rushing attack. That power rushing game, that mean, angry, aggressive rushing attack that LSU hasn't had for so long. LSU hasn't had it in real full force since 2019. 2019, it felt like, okay, we had started to slip away from the running attack, even though we had 1,000-yard seasons with all these different backs. Nick Brissett, even in 2018, was 1,000-yard back. It felt like LSU wasn't as successful or as impactful rushing the football. And it seemed like, Danny Etling era, things like that, Traven Durrell, Malachi Dupree, all of these guys on the outside that we are taking more shots for down the field, but we're wasting the opportunities for, not cashing out. There's so many opportunities for LSU throughout this history of this program to really go for it and add to this illustrious trophy collection that's we've already seen, right? Really, really add to it. But now you've got Lane Kiffin in the house, and he's pushing all the right buttons. Maybe Eric Walford works out. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe all the Kentucky fans are right. Maybe he does suck. I think we are obviously going to give this guy a chance and find that out. Lane Kiffin's the one making the decisions here, and I don't think you'd be hiring Eric Walford on offensive line if this guy, A, wasn't ready for the job, B, wasn't ready for the hire, C, wasn't ready for the moment. But here's the thing. We've also seen, hey, Elijah Robinson is going to be your new defensive line coach. And now he is probably too scared and is backing away and going to Nebraska. I'm still kind of fishing around, talking around to some people about that. And I'm sure that'll break at any moment here. But as you can see, there's some of the staff, that has been confirmed by LSU below. Joe Houston, now your special teams guy. Thaddeus Rivers Sr., he's your associate AD for football operations. Billy Glasscock, that we've talked about him many times. He's going to be the general manager, taking over for really amazing guy Austin Thomas. Sad to see him go. Dane Stevens is going to be your quarterbacks coach. Remember, we've had only one. This is LSU's first quarterbacks coach since Joe Sloan. I mean, Joe Sloan's been there since 2022. So, wow. It's just been Sloan as your quarterbacks coach for such a long time now. It's Dane Stevens. Interesting. Nick Savage is your new strength and conditioning coach. And, I mean, what a name. What a name for a strength and conditioning coach. Like, Savage. Nick Savage as LSU's new strength and conditioning coach. Nick Savage. And, there's questions about, okay, is Kevin Smith the running backs coach at Ole Miss, who likely, wherever he goes, Kawan Lacey, I'm told, is going to follow. That those two are almost a package deal, Kawan Lacey and the Ole Miss running backs coach, Kevin Smith. Not the director of clerks, Kevin Smith, but a different Kevin Smith. But here's the thing. Even though Kevin Smith has stayed with Ole Miss and he's coaching in the playoff, he didn't go on the plane with Kiffin, all that stuff. Kevin Smith, though, here's the thing. His family members were at the Kiffin press conference. I can't reveal the source of where I got that information from, but hanging out very tight with the Kiffins. Two families are tight. It seems to me like Kevin Smith is trying to be on the D-low, on the down low, but I think Kevin Smith is likely going to come to LSU as the next running backs coach, but we have to see that play out. Because here's the thing. There's certain things that you expected to happen. Just Pete Golding's going to be your new defensive coordinator. The two-lane position's going to open. I mean, I'm not trying to rip on Glenn Guilbeau whatsoever. I was on Tiger Rag with Glenn Guilbeau. They amazing guys invited me. Glenn Guilbeau, Todd Horn, Jeff Palermo. I'm trying to remember all these guys' names. Of course, Andre, my man, Andre Champagne. They amazingly graciously invited me. I effing love those guys, Tiger Rag. But they invited me on the show. And I remember saying, it would be a pipe dream if we could keep Blake Baker. And instantly Glenn Guilbeau said, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. They're going to bring Pete Golding, that's what's going to. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it probably is going to be impossible to keep Blake Baker. Like I kind of was like, yeah, like it would be great. Do it if you can, but you know, I get it. And so Glenn, said what was probably more correct and happening, but had that remained unchallenged, it would have turned out exactly what happened. Kiffin stayed on, and then the first thing he did, I have to keep Baker. Like, huge that he kept Baker. Huge to keep Baker, but no one expected that to happen. So my point is, many think that this thing is going to work this way, and this thing's going to fit this way, and this domino will hit this thing, and this will be the consequence naturally of this thing happening. And it sometimes works out that way, but there's a lot of times it doesn't. I've seen this for years now, doing this, and we've had our failings. We haven't been perfect at all. We're not the knower of all, the master of reality, or some BS like that. Just a seeker of LSU truth at all times, at all costs. Trying to really, I don't want to just like cover it. I want to really get to the heart of it, and that's kind of where I come from. But other people can cover it how they want to, and that's cool. Like that's what makes covering LSU and then the LSU media options so cool for this fan base. But that's why LSU is better than everybody else, is because there is this epic quality to all of it. There is an epic quality to all of it where you just want to jump in and take it all on. But so Kevin Smith, news breaks, LSU gonna hire Kevin Smith. He's coming. Does that equal instantly Frank Wilson? Frank Wilson's fired, right? I don't think so. What if he said, "Hey, I'm not gonna be running backs coach, but I'll be the recruiting coordinator. I'm gonna be," so like, we've seen Kiffin work some magic here early. Yes, Lane Kiffin hasn't coached it down. Maybe we don't know exactly how this is going to work out, right? But at the same time, you have to love how everything has looked so far, because Lane Kiffin's pushed so many of the right buttons. Keeping Blake Baker, I mean, that wasn't just all on Kiffin. Obviously, it had to rely on Blake Baker making the move to Lane, kind of rebuffing Blake Baker as well. Kind of not really being committal with him, when everyone thought, oh shit, Tulane are going to be like offering him like Memphis was. Maybe if Tulane offers Blake Baker, maybe he accepts that job. Maybe he's not able to retain Blake Baker. But here's the thing: Blake Baker did not accept that job, and he's here, and that's all that matters. Every other move, every move Kiffin has made, I've just been very impressed, because this is new ground, new territory for him. But it's almost like he had kind of dreamed about being LSU's coach, and like, this is how I would do it, And then the second he's given the keys, he's like, all right, here we go. Let's do exactly the plan that I always thought of, always was, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this plan where we set this up this exact way. We go after these recruits. We do this, I'm going to bring this guy with me over here. We're going to try and reconstitute LSU's power running game, while also, accentuating and highlighting how unbelievable LSU's skill position guys are. I mean, so many wasted skill position guys. Can you imagine what Lane Kiffin would have done with Kayshon Boutte, with Malik Neighbors, with Brian Thomas Jr., with John Emery Jr. John Emery Jr. actually succeeded under Brian Kelly until injuries really screwed up his LSU career. He just wasn't given really many opportunities. When he was scoring in big games at big moments. There's so many players for LSU over the last 5, 6 years in the post 2019 era that we've talked about on this show. And we've said, so many of these guys didn't reach their optimum, didn't reach their full potential, didn't reach their absolute apex. Can Lane Kiffin, who is a really, really unbelievable coach when it comes to maximizing talents, can Lane Kiffin deliver on that? Can Lane Kiffin deliver on maximizing a talent like Caden Durham, who's really he's really had a tough season this last year as a sophomore. Really a tough season. Harold Perkins, is he going to return? Is he going into the NFL draft? Our information is pointing towards him heading to the NFL draft. But I have heard that he is open to hearing what Lane Kiffin, LSU have to say. I haven't heard anything. I haven't been able to make any confirmation that Harold and LSU have had contact, that Harold and LSU have had any talks about him returning. I can't confirm any of that. What I can confirm is that he would be open to those type of discussions. But he is looking to he is on the more on the fence of going into the NFL draft right now than playing college football. Can that be undone? Potentially. He has one more year of eligibility, Harold Perkins. So you have all these moving pieces. Do you bring in the running backs coach and then risk losing Frank Wilson as well? Is Kevin Smith that top guy? I mean, his resume speaks for itself. Wherever he's been with Kiffin, he's been everywhere Kiffin's been for the last decade, they have run the ball very well. Run the ball damn well, a lot better than LSU, and oftentimes with less talent than LSU had on the line and at running back. So I'm very interested, very intrigued. So we're going to figure out more and more how this staff works together and what this offense how this offense does what they do, how they're able to achieve what they've achieved at Ole Miss, how Kiffin's been able to dial it up for years at different places. And more of these names, more of these guys that are on this staff. We're gonna do more of a deep dive into their names. I wanted to first kind of dip the toes in, give you a little introduction on, Eric Walford, like we just said, that debate with the Kentucky fans criticizing him upon arrival, saying, well, you didn't really take that good of a coach from us, LSU. Good job. To, Charlie Weiss Jr. being paid a lot of money. I think he is the highest paid offensive assistant in the SEC right now. I'll have to double check that, but the numbers are certainly close enough that they're in that ballpark. Clayton Adney says Silent Bob Kevin Smith. Yes. Kevin Smith, yeah, potential running backs coach. Yep. And it looks like he will be. But that has not been confirmed. That has not been signed. And until it is, we're not going to say that thing's done or that's going to happen, because he could stay at Ole Miss and think that's more of the opportunity. We also wanted to finish off this show. There's something that was revealed today. You can do it, Sage. You can do anything, buddy. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Kaleb Jackson entered the transfer portal officially today. And that was something LSU Odyssey reported on October 14th. What happened was we were given the information from his father. We had the understanding that that was meant to be reported then, and all was well. And in fact, it would help Kaleb because then it would kind of line up people to come get him. You know, yes, I can see that there's the typo, Cunior LSU running back instead of Junior. I know. Obviously, I didn't misspell that. That's kind of the autocorrect bullshit. Or maybe it's my Billy Joel fingers. Obviously, I don't think that's how you spell that, but I can see the typo. We posted the information. Kaleb Jackson has played his final game at LSU. And instantly caused a firestorm where his mom, I presume, came at us online, calling us a liar, calling us a this and that and this and that, saying she like appreciated us and all stuff, while like, I appreciate you covering my son, but you're, a liar and you're full of it, and please ask me before you post lies or whatever. And people went to town on us. Look at that. Look at that thread. Lon reported Kaleb entered the portal, but was wrong. And this is not the first time this has happened. I mean, this is just one of the first times I'm just like bathing in the receipts because I want to prove a point. It's not just about, oh, I got this one story right about this one player. Yeah, look at my flex. It's not about that. What this is about is saying, like, you get sometimes a bullshit twisted version of what we're actually reporting. Go straight to the source. Read, watch, actually look at what we're doing instead of what other people are saying about it. This guy, Lon reported Kaleb entered the portal but was wrong. Anyone who read my actual article, which thousands of people did, the article had like 8,000 hits, 9,000 hits or something. It said very plainly, his father has told us that Kaleb Jackson is going to redshirt, and then he's going to take the rest of the season off. He's not going to play another snap, and he's gone from LSU. He's transferring from the Tigers, and that's it. That became like this whole absolute thing of bullshit. I think it got very, very rancid when his own mother, knowing the truth that we all know he didn't, because Kaleb didn't play another snap the whole rest of this season. And he hadn't played a snap for a few weeks before I had reported what I reported. And so I think it is a little funny to point out when the shrieking, stomping, nihilistic mob can get things wrong. just like I can. Just like I can get things wrong. I've gotten things wrong. And Lord knows you guys know I have, but here's a moment where you guys have gotten it wrong. Big time. And this isn't the only time. We can go back to Nussmeyer's and his many injuries. 2 injuries at one point, and then it became 3 during the season. And everyone's saying, no, you are full of it. From the common fan to like the highest in the media saying we were full of it. We didn't know what we were doing. What are you're ruining your career. What are you doing sticking your neck out like that? I mean, I heard all of the type of bullshit. There's many stories that I just, lost to the mist. I could remember them if I could spend some time and think about it, but we just keep spending time going to the next one. But there's so many of these where we've been out ahead of this thing, and because you're out ahead of this thing, you kind of stick your neck out a little bit and you can get your head cut off. And then on a day like today, I can't remember the name of the person who broke the news, but whoever it was, they're the ones who are getting the credit as being who was right and all that stuff. And so just a point I'm trying to make, not trying to say, oh my God, give me the credit. Oh my God. I need to break the news. I broke the news. Give me credit. No. I already know I've broken the news. I've already known that for a few months. I don't need the credit from people. Like, we already know what has happened here. We already know what's transpired here. What I'm wanting, what I'm worried about, what I'm thinking about is saying, hey, let's be fair about this shit. Get them wrong, call us out. Get it right, give us some love, or even at least just the applicable, necessary, professional courtesy that goes with that. I mean, that's what we try and do here. We're not perfect. We have given shots back to people who've given us shots, but we've never just gone after people like, hey, we're going to give some people some shots. It's not what we do. Anyone who watches this knows that. We definitely hit back, though. So Matt Bruni from On3 is someone who, in that thread, literally said, Lon posting something and then deleting it because some parent got mad at him sounds typical or something. And it was like, that was the first time a parent had ever gotten mad at me online in this capacity of like, you reported something. And actually, this was the only time I can think of like where it was something that wasn't like a misunderstanding, that they were like actually mad about it because they knew what the truth was and they didn't want the truth coming out there. It wasn't because what we're reporting wasn't inaccurate. And it just got really sickening for a bit because it was like, hey, you need to take this bullshit. You need to take these lies of people, kind of shitting on your character. And we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But Matt Bruni saying that, like, all the parents go after him or something, like that's such BS because we actually have some pretty tight relationships with a lot of the LSU Tiger parents and people who've watched this channel, or even if you don't want to watch this channel, but just go through our site and see the interviews we've done with some of these people and some of the conversations we've had. Some of the social media posts, things like I think you'll understand that it was kind of a cheap shot by him. So when Matt Bruni says something like that, of course, in that moment, we're going to take a shot back at him. I don't even think I even said anything. I don't even think I still, to this point, have said anything about him that's negative or like, hey, here's the shot. I've just basically said he went after us. Like, he went after us for a bullshit reason. So that's all I'm really saying about that is some people went after us for some nefarious, stupid reasons to try and prove something. But I think, once again, just like how we were vindicated with the Nussmeier news, which is really crazy. Now with the Kaleb Jackson news, I mean, I, I, I don't know. We're trying our best to do this thing. We're not trying to say that we're all knowing. We're not trying to say that we're the best reporter or any of that bullshit. But let us do this. Give us a fair shot at doing this. Like we're gonna give this our best shot, and we're gonna try and do this the best way we possibly can with the best quality for the number one fan base and the number one program in college football, baby. Like, this is LSU we're talking about, and you guys do deserve the best. And I think, when you're talking about guys like Moscona, you're talking about guys like Jordy Collada before, and it seems like he's coming back now. He told me privately, Jordy, that he wasn't going to come back unless something happened, but that he was just doing a few shows with Jacques Doucet. But Jacques Doucet, there's another one. There's another guy. We've got some Buddy Sanji, Mike Scarborough. We got some great variety options to choose from as LSU fans for our LSU media. And so I would love a fair shot at that type of stuff, because I don't think I've never wanted to go after other people or try and tear them down, embarrass them, ha ha ha, they're failures, ha ha ha. Like, that's not, because I've never seen other media people as being in my competition. Yes, the media game is competitive, but I view it as almost like self-competitive more than anything. Top yourself. Like, I did an interview with LeBron Landry this last month, but it's like, yeah, okay, but let's do one better. Whether that's with LeBron again, which we're hoping we can do a part 2 with LeBron Landry. But if that's with him or someone, like, top that shit. So my point in saying all this is just, we're not gonna cry from some criticism of, this, which just has aged just hilariously. That has just aged beautifully, hasn't it? It's October 14th. That's the date that says that right there. October 14th when we posted this, and this story blew up. And effectively from that point forward, people, oh, well, of course we knew Kaleb was going to transfer. Of course we all knew. And it's like, sure, you could say that from a snaps perspective. You could say that from a playing time. But, like, yeah, he was on the periphery of the team already. I get it. But when I posted that and his mom reacted and said that we were lying and you all believed her and didn't believe me. Only a few people believed what we were reporting. But it seemed like a lot of people in media knew what I was reporting was correct. It was just they had an issue with the timing, or they had an issue with the fact that it was me who did it. I'm not sure. And I don't really care, because we're going to keep doing what we do because we love doing what we do. And that's that. It sucks to see Kaleb Jackson go. I wish he could have stayed. And that's the thing, is that's what really has soured the situation for me totally, is that I really loved Kaleb and his parents. Absolutely love those people. And you had one person tell me one thing and another person get mad at me for not knowing that other person was going to tell media and be okay with media reporting it. And so instead of getting kind of upset with each other over this and kind of having a conversation about it or whatever, it's no, just go after the media guy in the middle and attack him for this happening. But it is what it is. I'm not like, hey, oh my God, you wounded me, you hurt me. Like, it's okay. But It sucks to see Kaleb Jackson, a talent at LSU, wasted, because from he had this dynamic freshman season where we actually should have used him a lot more that season, where he's trucking people, he's running people over, he's doing all this, he's spin moves, all this insane stuff. He looks like a juggernaut waiting to happen, right? And then for some stupid reason in the offseason, they have him gain 30, 40 pounds. Same thing with Savion Jones. It was like, what the hell is this? Why are they having these guys gain all this crazy amount of weight? Savion Jones, it's going to slow him with his pass rush. Yeah, maybe he still gets there with the pressures, but he didn't get those sacks like he should have because of that added weight gain. Same thing with Kaleb Jackson. Okay, you wanted to make him powerful. You wanted to make him strong in the hole in the SEC or something, like some bullshit like that. Like, dude was perfect as he was. Just keep beefing him. Just keep stacking him. You don't have to have him gain 45 freaking pounds. And they slowed Kaleb down. He couldn't hit the holes fast enough, and definitely not with a shitty offensive line in front of him. And Kaleb it turned into never getting the football because Frank needed a guy who could make dancing moves in the backfield as guys are going for his ankles because the center missed a block. Really, like, he needed a Caden Durham as a freshman who could make those moves. And then this year, Harlem Berry. He needed guys who could make those first cuts the second the ball's even touching their fingers. Like, they're already having to make a move. The guy's coming at you in the backfield. Maybe 2 or 3. Kaleb Jackson was that type of back before that major, really ill-advised weight gain. He was that type of combo power finesse back. He was perfectly, just in that right pocket as a running back, Kaleb Jackson, in his freshman year, wasn't he, in 2023? And really showed a ton of dynamism, athleticism, playmaking after the catch, playmaking, after contact, delivering the pain with the contact, like we all know. But just what a weapon he could have and should have been for LSU, and sadly wasn't. And I don't understand why I don't understand why that happened. I don't understand why. Just once again, this is another illustration of LSU wasting talent, wasting top players, elite athletes over the last 5-6 years. There, you can count guys like Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. Even those guys, we really just maximized them for a season. And I know they put up numbers and all, like, those guys could have put up extraterrestrial numbers if actually managed properly. And then you look at the Mason Smiths, the Harold Perkins, the Whit Weeks. Whit Weeks should have been a starter as a freshman. He showed that promise when you needed him in an emergency. And then you go back to Omar Spates, and you were winless with Omar Spates starting, and you were undefeated with Jaden Daniels as your quarterback when freshman Whit Weeks started for you as a linebacker. And just that stat alone, his tackles alone, his ability to cover for Harold Perkins, inability to shed blockers or lackadaisical effort, etc., getting lost in the play, or being able to blitz, whatever he's covering for him. Without that, you were handcuffed. And so you have all these players throughout LSU's last 5-6 years that you have wasted. And is Lane Kiffin the type of coach who can really make a guy like Caden Durham count? Make a guy like Harlem Berry into an All-American? sadly, this would have been a great receiving core group for him to work with Berrien Brown, Xavier Thomas, Chris Hilton Jr., Aaron Anderson. You had so much potential there and really such little production. It was shocking. Injuries, a bunch of dropped passes, Chris Hilton Jr. being anonymous, Cortez Hankton really screwing up the passing game. And then I wonder how good these guys, Berrien Brown, Xavier Thomas, Chris Hilton Jr., I wonder how good Aaron Anderson, I wonder how good they would have been with Lane Kiffin. And shit, man. Like Lane Kiffin, even if Lane Kiffin underperforms at LSU as LSU's offensive impresario as well as the head coach, I would be stunned if that happened. I'd be stunned if he failed, or even if he was below average or whatever. But even if he was below average, if you have Blake Baker going out and getting those type of guys in the portal, being able to go out and coach a defense like that again next season, where, hey, all comers, you score 25 points, you're going to win football games with this defense behind you. Wow. I think it's just it's so easy to sell in the transfer portal. When you need to go out and get a dynamic corner, you can say, look at what Mansour Delane just did, bro. If you thought it didn't work anymore, that DBU didn't work anymore, it was dead, bullshit. Do you see what this guy did, Mansour Delane? And then not only that, we don't go just through the portal, but the dude on the recruiting trail, freshman phenom DJ freaking Pickett. And I mean, literally picked it. 3 interceptions, should have been 4. Should have been a pick 6 against Florida, but they called it back for the stupidest, softest, scandalous defensive pass interference I've ever seen. DJ Pickett literally just brushes up against the guy to go pick that pass off. That guy has no clue that ball's even coming. DJ Pickett really technically should have 4 picks on the season, but statistically speaking, honestly speaking, 3, reality speaking. Should be 4, but 3. Pickett's been unbelievable. He has multiple sacks, multiple TFLs, multiple picks. I mean, multiple pass breakups. I mean, good Lord. He has been unstoppable for LSU this season. His coverage grade is top 5 in the country. Overall, not just for freshmen, but in the country overall. LSU still works. DBU still works. What this school has always been is what it will always be. And we want to see that continue like hell. And you saw when DJ Pickett got that big Nike deal. That's also another recruiting pitch. So many kids saw that and saw, whoa. DJ Pickett was playing for Zephyr Hills less than 12 months ago. And now he's on LSU's campus driving around in who knows what type of car. Probably really nice one. I don't know, probably modest one. He's pretty modest, pretty chill kid, pretty grounded kid. But this kid's now got a Nike endorsement, a Nike deal, being a featured Nike athlete. It's incredible, and he's headed for that Derek Stingley type of heir apparent vibe here. Eli Ricks. I don't think we should forget him because he had an incredible 2020. God damn, I wish he had, been able to reclassify and come out in 2019, and him and Stingley could have been there for 2019, 2020 together. Because man, Eli Ricks, he was one of the most loved fan favorites, Eli Ricks. And then when he left that team, it hurt the fans so badly that he became public enemy number one of the most hated I've ever seen. But like, especially because he went to Alabama. But Eli Ricks, man, oof, when he left, my God, the hatred boileth over. Anyway, we're getting off track here. Kiffinquest, I feel like Lane Kiffin has been putting the right pieces together. You really want to retain the right guys here. You don't want to lose certain guys to the portal, but you also want to make sure you do trim the fat in certain areas. But I think LSU could really just add more than lose guys here as a benefit, because I think even a lot of these returning guys could be strong depth options. Maybe Gabe Relaford isn't your starting edge rusher next season, even though he started for you this year. Those are the type of situations that could be possible coming soon to you this season, because there's going to be new targets. There's going to be new prospects. There's going to be new recruits, new freshmen that come to LSU looking for an opportunity, looking for a moment to really stamp their place. And Lane Kiffin, from previous experiences, he is going to play the best players. He's going to play the best players. Cole Adams, King Cole Adams, he says, "Hey, Lon, got on track with you. Been watching a day behind." What's up, King Cole? Hey, man, it's all good. There's been a lot going on with having a baby. The baby, we haven't been able to bring the baby home just yet, sadly. But Chelsea and I have been trading places, me coming home with Sage, and then she's going to the NICU back. We've been going back and forth. One of us there, one of us. It's been ridiculous. But last night we stopped that for a few hours and did hang out and chill. But it's been rough not being able to have the girl home so soon. But I think she'll be fine. I really do. She is having to get some oxygen, but I think it's more precautionary. These are newborns we're talking about. And so, it's such a surreal thing, because we were able to spend a few days with her and stuff, but then she's just taken to the Nick. It was just so strange. And we have as much access as you could possibly have to her. We're only like 10 minutes away from her, luckily. But not being able to bring Sage in there has been so confusing for him, because he was like, "Oh, I just had this sister, and now where is she?" It's really weird. But glad to see you, King Cole, and thank you for watching, my brother. King Cole responds, he just adds, "Lon, any chance Lane can take a second look at Kaleb's freshman year and realize BK screwed this kid over?" I mean, that's what I just spent the last little bit trying to say. I think you heard that. This kid was heading for superstar status, and everyone knew it, and he was robbed of that by really terrible planning from Jake Flint, and really poor use in the running game by Mike Denbrock. Mike Denbrock left the team. Okay, Mike Denbrock was there in 2023 and actually used Kaleb Jackson right. So take this back. Completely on Joe Sloan for that poor usage of Kaleb Jackson and that new change in direction of using Kaleb Jackson as a power running back. That's on Sloan. And Brian Kelly and Jake Flint, and You know, I don't know why Kaleb went along with that. Way too much weight. Way too much weight. Fred from Plano. My God, this guy's amazing. Fred, bro, you made Chelsea you made Chelsea go absolutely crazy with that gift. We're like, what is this huge box on our freaking porch? Like, because this is actually the first day we'd come back from the hospital without Ari. We had to leave her, but it was like Chelsea has to get some sleep. Like, she was in bad shape. Took her home. First thing we see is that giant freaking box. So Chelsea's in a really bad spot, and that really absolutely made her freaking day, dude. Thank you, man. You are amazing, Fred. Fred from Plano, the man, the myth, the legend. He says, Lon, you break so many stories. That doesn't mean people won't get one wrong or that facts may change. Yep. Anyone remember when Kirk Herbstreit broke the Les Miles to Michigan story on game day right before the 2007 BCS National Championship? But he denied it and he never went to Michigan. Yep. I remember that. That was wild. Was that 2011? Wasn't that 2011 National Championship? Or was it 2007? I swear it was 2011. But Fred continues, it's a reminder that even elite national reporters can get it wrong or that circumstances can change after a report goes public. We still don't know whether Miles had an offer and then changed his mind. That's true. That's true. That is 100. What he says is 100% true. I mean, these things can be fluid and can flip on you fast, and that's why a lot of reporters, people will call them cowards or corporate shills or whatever. I don't really go for those terms, but I get why they do it. They're being careful and they avoid absolutist language because there's always going to be that element of humanity where someone's going to, nope, I'm suddenly going to change and do this and flip course from what everyone expected me to do. But yeah, man, thank you, Fred, for the comment, and I really appreciate that, brother. Corey the goat says that was Ole Miss. They took the pick six back. Oh, it was Ole Miss. It was against Ole Miss. I thought that was against Florida. Corey the goat says probably Florida. Also, I didn't watch nothing but the first half of Florida game, and I was in and out with that. All right, Corey. Well, I think it was the Florida game, but I can look it up. Cole Adams, sorry for your struggles. Best wishes. I mean, there's a lot of other people struggling more than us. I think Ari will be fine. It's just you don't like having a baby in the NICU on oxygen. You're not able to see her all the time. It's a weird spot to be in. Especially with a crazy 3-year-old. Seiji, want to say hi to the people?
No thanks.
No, he goes, no thanks. Are you looking for Mama?
Yep.
Mama went back to the hospital to see Ari. Give Ari some milk.
But I want to see you.
Me too. Me too. Threat level midnight, everybody. Threat level midnight. Did you see this shirt? Threat level midnight. What's up, bub? Seiji, who's your favorite football team? who's your favorite purple and yellow team? Purple and gold.
Maybe just baseball.
He's confused by what I'm saying. I'm saying it in a stupid way. Seiji, do you like LSU? What are the LSU? Are they the LSU They're the LSU.
Tigers.
Yes, the LSU Tigers. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, okay. I thought he had it wrapped around his neck for a second. I'm like, no, 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 no. Don't you do that, boy. LSU Hyper Ninja 9 says it was Ole Miss game. Honest question: if Lane doesn't get Underwood from the portal, do we get Levitt? I can't make that. I can't make up some type of, hey, I know exactly what will happen if this, like, that's very far away. Like, maybe it's sooner than we think. Maybe people will make decisions in the middle of a championship game. Hey, I'm gonna go here, like in the middle of a bowl game. Hey, I'm going to this new place. Like, I am gonna transfer. Like, who knows? But I can't predict what, if we don't get Underwood, that we go to Levitt. But here's the thing: you can do your best detective work and deduce by looking at, okay, who are the best options quarterback wise, who would maybe work the best in the Lane Kiffin system, even though I am of the opinion Lane Kiffin can make almost damn near any quarterback successful. I think there is a type that he definitely succeeds the most with. You kind of narrow it down from there, and here's a few guys that can maybe fit that description. Here's the direction you might go in. Here's the targets that, of course, everyone's going to want to sign, that type of stuff. Sam Levitt's going to be in there. So if we don't get Underwood, I think you could absolutely say Sam Levitt's in the conversation for sure. I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, unless he gets taken elsewhere before that. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We're going to be doing even more shows and more shows and more shows and more shows and more shows as much as possible. But we've also got some writing going on. I want to see kind of some opinions. What do you guys like more? Do you guys like the writing more, or do you guys like the podcasts more? What is the best way to view the content in your opinion that we make? Is it through the writing? Is it through, just this crazy, wild new frontier that we're embarking upon with podcasting, where you guys can listen to it wherever you want? You don't even have to look at my ugly mug, or maybe there's a photo of my own face over my ugly face, or a photo of somebody else over my face, something like some weird shit like that. Which one tickles your fancy? I want to hear what you guys think, but I also want you to do this, and promise me you'll do this. Promise me, because when I make a promise, I never break a promise. Okay, so please promise me this, that if you are a podcast person, you'll check out our articles. But if you are an article person, you only read our stuff, which there are many of you who are like that and think we're way better as a writer and we should shut our freaking mouth and just write. No more podcasts, no more facials, right? I also want you to check out the podcast. I want vice versa. If you're into the articles, I want you to check out the podcast. If you're into the podcast only, I want you to go on to LSUODYSSEY.com and check out our actual articles and kind of see what's up, because what we try and do and try and provide is we try and make it where both sides of the coin meet and kind of fulfill each other's destiny. You know what I'm saying? Scratches the itch for everybody. I'm gonna sign off before my son starts going nuts, but rest in peace to Nasha Falk. Terrible, terrible news that we got. I think it was Monday, Tuesday. Passed away at the age of 30. The second daughter LSU legend Kevin Falk has lost in the last 5 years. Gut-wrenching, awful. Don't even begin to describe. It's soul-wrenching because this is a guy that, for all of his, the banners hanging, the statue that's going to be there, the jersey retirement that should have happened many times before already, but will at some point, the Super Bowl wins that he's got, the rings, the records. His family means everything to him. And I hate to see this man who I've loved and respected for so many years, and then was privileged to be able to speak to and to be able to, in some small way, get to know. It sucks to see him go through this and his family. We love you, Kevin Falk. We love you, Falk family. This too shall pass. Even though it is unimaginable pain, this too shall pass. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching the show. Visit and subscribe at, I shouldn't say to, I should say at. Visit and subscribe. Fixing our typo real time, or not typo, but maybe, I guess you could call it. Visit and subscribe at LSUODYSSEY.com/subscribe. Follow us on X or Twitter at Lon Phillips, Instagram at LSU Odyssey Lon. We also go live on Instagram. So this is going live on Instagram as well. And really, if you're into the articles, check out the podcast this week as well. If you're into the podcast, check out the articles. But here's the thing. They're all on LSUODYSSEY.com, whatever it is. They're all going to be posted there, whichever they are. So if you really want to make sure you're getting the stuff, you're getting the actual meat of what we're posting, definitely sign up for notifications for LSUODYSSEY.com. You can sign up for those for free. There's no charge for that, no subscription. It'll just tell you when articles are posted, when articles, podcasts, any of that's posted. Special guest appearances. Speaking of which, we are recording a podcast tomorrow. A very interesting podcast. Well, actually doing two. I forgot. We're doing a small one I've never heard of with a guy who is a Chicago Bears guy who this should be a very fun time. I'm looking very forward to this guy's podcast. And then a very big time podcast that I know have heard of, that I am very excited to be invited to do one of these, to do a part of this series. And I think it's very cool, and I'm kind of honored to do that. So we're going to be doing that at some point afternoon tomorrow. Every time I say when with certain things like that, sometimes things go snafu. So we're not going to release that information. But you'll see these shows when their podcasts release them. And when those podcasts release them, we will relink those on LSUODYSSEY.com as well so that everyone can see them. Everything we do will always go to LSUODYSSEY.com and be posted there. Like that is number one, where we post everything on that site. So that's where it's going to be. Everybody, thank you so much. King Cole, freaking Fred from Plano, my brother. We drink to you, my man. The Piston Cup. Sage is talking about, he's got this track from the movie Cars, and this toy track, and you can't find your piston cup?
No.
Well, guess what? I think Dada's going to have to help you find it, aren't I?
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, looks like we're going to have to find a piston cup. I absolutely love all you guys. Fred, you seriously blew Chelsea's mind, and really, I think Chelsea didn't understand quite how cool my audience is until that moment, because I think she just hadn't really been as involved, as present in some of the things I was doing or seeing it, or she had met a bunch of the people, some of the families, some of the moms, some of the players, things like that. But to have somebody, I mean, she wasn't expecting anything from that registry. I guess it was like a wish list registry that I knew about, and I forgot that it was a wish list registry. I thought it was the actual registry, so I'm just like, wham, here you go, Fred, because I couldn't refuse the Fred. I was like, I don't ask for that, Fred, but I just can't really like deny you. You're trying to do something nice. And Fred, you absolutely just like, oh man, she needed that at that moment. Like, just something to think positively about. You're amazing, man. King Cole says, link it here. Yeah, yes, indeed. We will put it on LSUODYSSEY.com. And we'll see if either podcast will let us do like a dual live stream on our platform as well. I don't think we can do that with one of them. I think one of them we're going to record, and then that one's going to get edited and probably put on certain segments or whatever, because this is a pretty big podcast. This is, I think, the biggest podcast appearance I've ever done, and it comes at a really crazy time for my family, but I've never been more ready for this type of action, this moment in my life, and we'll see what happens. But I can just smell opportunity in the air, even though there's so much like chaos going on. Because of that, I've never been more like driven to really follow this passion and really go all the way, because I know this is leading somewhere good. You're going to be covering LSU. It just doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better than this job covering LSU, whether, I kind of give myself the job or someone else gives it to me. It's still great. I'm basically a self-hired. No one said, hey, Lon, you're an actual journalist. We're going to make sure you're a journalist. Here's your piece of paper that tells the world you're a journalist. And I'm not ripping on people who have that piece of paper. I'm not mocking anyone who has that piece of paper. I'm simply saying that there's a system that seems to shit on people like me who don't have that piece of paper. And it seems to reward the people who do have that piece of paper simply just because they have the piece of paper, not because they have the actual talent to go into those levels. That's not to say I have the talent. We'll find that out. I'll have to prove myself. You have to prove yourself every day in this job, every day in this gig. I don't have some boss staring over my shoulder trying to make sure I make a deadline. I want these deadlines for you guys, so that you wake up on that Sunday morning reading that article about the LSU game last night, so that you go to sleep at maybe 2 a.m. and you've seen that post-game show for that insane LSU game that went on, until 10, 11 p.m. at night. And then we did the post game. You saw that shit and it went down. And then we had an article that you woke up to as well. Like, that's what we want to provide That's what we want to go gas pedal to the floorboards on for you. And just like you look at the LaRon Landry interview we did last month, we want to do that every freaking day. Multiple of those every freaking day. And so once things can settle down, hopefully we can get an investment or two. Hopefully we can find a way to be able to quit having to do it any day job whatsoever and being able to just go at this full on and being able to travel to Baton Rouge a lot more. Once we hit that that threshold, and it's going to have to be, you know, piece by piece, things will have to take time, sure, you know. I'm really excited for where this is going because I think that there's just something about LSU that I've just seen begat success. You know, like it's always been an omen for good, that purple and gold. And it's just something I've always wanted to be around. I've always wanted my family to be around. And now there's that opportunity to be able to cover the LSU Tigers as a day job. I don't think you understand how driven I've wanted and how crazed I've been for that opportunity for the last 8 years. I have done everything I can to try and prove myself for that opportunity, trying to prove myself to create these opportunities every single day for you guys, the absolute best freaking audience that there possibly can be. The LSU fan base, the most rabid fan base in the country, the most obsessive, the most interested, the most interesting fan base that there is in this country. And you guys are the people I want to really present this stuff to. You guys are the people I really want to go the extra mile for. And so, sorry for the rant and the raving, but if you believe in what we're doing, help us, help us, help us. If you believe in what we're doing, help us get to that next level. Visit and subscribe at LSUODYSSEY.com /subscribe. And you know what? If you can't do anything financially, like, you know, support us financially, that's fine. You can just follow us on X or Twitter at Lon Phillips, and on Instagram at LSU Odyssey Lawn. We're cooking up on Facebook now. Facebook has allowed LSUODYSSEY.com on their site for the first time in 4 years. Our site was banned on Facebook for God knows what reason. Our article on Steve Ensminger had around 30,000 hits, largely because of it being posted on Facebook. Right after that, Facebook blocked our HTML. Interesting. And it wasn't just happening to us. It happened to many other small businesses or companies, right-wing politics people, left-wing politics people. And the common thread, a bunch of hits, a bunch of traffic was going their way from Facebook, and they did not like it. So they banned that HTML. Well, it took 4 years, but we got it back. So we're also posting all of our stuff now straight to the site on Facebook for the first time. It is my pleasure to tell you that. Everybody, have a good rest of your night and go Tigers.